Hello, and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. Today, we're going to be talking about change. Change is in the air, isn't it? Yes, it is. So, hi, man on the moon. I'm so grateful you're here. I know it's late where you're at, but I'm grateful that you're here. So, with that I'm so grateful whenever I can support you in your life's journey, everybody's. So, I'm bringing in light and love and trying to bring in that positive ideas on how to negotiate through change. So with that I want you to remember that your perspective is your perspective, your truth is your truth. I'm just here as a perception to help you negotiate maybe something that's going on with your life. Hi, Veronica, my dear friend. Yes. And so with that we're all in the midst of, figuring out where's this reality going to take us? Well, you know, who knows? Because it's a lot of human interaction. And when you have human interaction, you never know how it's going to play out. So even us intuitives, we get a gist of it, we get an understanding of it, we get an application of it, we get tapped into the knowings of it. But at the same time, though, sometimes you just got to ride it out, right? And I'm kind of like riding out of a migraine that hit me this morning, and I was able to negotiate it, but I slept most of the day, so you're kind of catching me probably a little bit off, but not necessarily too off. So I'm good though. My body has learned to absorb and to negotiate what I do. And so there again, I'm going through change. So you're probably going to notice in some of my videos that I am redoing my front room. Not major, but just enough. And taking wallpaper off, it's a lot of arm things that triggers my shoulders, that triggers my life, that triggers a little bit. And so I have to, negotiate things. And so, that's the theme of a lot of changes, is that it will trigger. It will trigger us. It will trigger some of our story. It will trigger some of our self-doubt. It will trigger some of our body interactions. It will trigger much of what we are if we are in that mindset of lack, then scarcity, fear. Yes, fear is part of it. Fear is going to be a tap into this anxiety of what is going to happen. We don't know, but that's the thing is that, and please, if you need to, get a piece of paper, because there's going to be some mantras that I'm going to be throwing out today. And it's like change. It's almost like the fly that's in my room right now. It's frantic. This fly is frantic. How did I get in this house? How do I get out of this house? That's what I keep hearing. How do I get out? 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 I have the door open for it. So if it slows down, here's the key. The fly is a representation right now. It's a metaphor for life. How can I get it? How can I do it? How can I do? How can I get out? How can I, how? And we get on the treadmill of the anxiety of it. No, it's time to slow down, because if this fly slowed down and took a look and got into its senses, got into its understanding, got into its centeredness, got into its wanting to know how I can be in the moment, then the fly would notice that there's fresh air and there's a different sense of air, because the elements will help the fly, right? So the fly is like, and then if it tapped into it, it would find its direction. And if the fly would fly into its direction, it would notice that the air is moving it towards the outside, and then it can be where it wants to be, right? So with that when you are in the midst of change, remembering it's time to slow down. Like for me with my migraine today, woo! I don't know if you saw the fly, but it went right by me. So it's trying to tell me, help me, help me, help me. So I'm going to give it some ideas on what to do. So sorry, I'm getting distracted a little bit by a fly. So the fly I'm telling it to go out there. Okay. So, as you move forward into what you're doing, that, this moments of change and shifting and doing, that it sets us up into a new normal. So I'm going to, oh, there you go. Going to say that, that as you walk into this new normal, ain't that an interesting story? So we have the new normal, We always can carry a part of us with us through change. We can always carry this moment through us. But, like with my migraine, sorry, I got distracted by the fly. That, with my migraine, what did I do? Instead of fighting it, instead of saying I can't do it. Well, I know I couldn't do a lot with my arms, but, it's like we're getting a new bed on Friday and we're going to two twins instead of the California King. And so what did I do? I went through the old sheets. I went through the sheets that I've been holding that's been in this closet, and it's been, and it's behind the door, so feng shui wise. So I'm resetting up some new energy, bringing in the new normal. So that means we have to release the old or some of the old, right? It doesn't mean new normal doesn't mean we have to get rid of ourselves. No, no, it doesn't mean that we have to get rid of ourselves. We don't have to leave ourselves. And that's the thing is that change always brings new layers on. And that's the interesting part about change is that, the more we can get centered in ourselves, and when I say centered, it's more about breath. It's more about knowing that, you kind of picture, take the mindset that the brain kind of getting busy, right? And take it and bring that mindset down into like just below the heart center. And that's about in between the heart chakra and the third chakra, right? So it's right down there. And if you can, breathe into that moment. And, do this when you're in the car before you're ready to get out and go to work, or when you are ready to go out into the grocery store. Just, when we are in the midst of change, take those moments when you can and just breathe into yourself. Take yourself and give yourself a moment. And that's the thing is that, sometimes when we feel like when we're in change, that we're on the treadmill, we got to get going, we got to get going, we got to do, 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 we got to do. But that's the thing is that even with my ADHD and even with my dyslexia and even with all that I am, that sometimes I do wait till the last minute to get things done. But what I'm doing is like my intention this summer, even though I knew change was happening this summer, I knew something was going to change this summer. I knew things were going to come on. Hi, Paula. Come in and support some change in me. I knew that I was going to work on my mitochondria and my cortisol. And it's not that the cortisol is bad. Cortisol comes up when we get into angst and change and energy and that mindset, right? We get into the negative side of cortisol because everything has a positive and a negative. Well, the positive side of cortisol is that it helps us get up in the morning. It helps us negotiate life. It helps us do things. It helps us do things that we can do. But the thing is, though, when we are in the midst of big change, that sometimes our mitochondria, which is like these cells that are just like they're all over the place, and they help us tap into a lot of different things. And I'm still doing my research on a lot of this because I know that this is what's affecting me now. But the thing is, though, I was going to work on this summer, no matter what was hitting, whatever was going to shift into my reality, whatever was going to be with me this summer through change, that I was going to practice breathing in it. I was going to practice negotiating being in the moment, not necessarily worrying about the future, not necessarily worrying about the past, but be in the moment of it. Be here in the moment of it. So like when I'm taking down the wallpaper, my husband, who's a destination man, not a journey man, and I'm a journey person, not a destination person, that, and we all are a type of a person. Some people are more destination people. We got to get there, wherever there is. And, it's like he came in and said, how this is taking you a while. And I go, yeah, but I'm in the moment. I'm in the moment of stripping the wallpaper off, damping it down so it's less work, helping, working with the moment of the wallpaper is helping me practice working on my cortisol, breathing with my cortisol, working with my mitochondria, breathing with my mitochondria. Now, am I taking extra adrenal medicine right now? Yes, I am. Am I helping my bee, taking extra Bs? Yes, I am. Am I taking extra magnesium D? Healthy? Yes, I am, because that's where my body needs the extra support. Okay. Taking extra C. Oh my gosh, I'm doubling up, tripling up on my C right now for some reason. I don't know why. It's just my intuition is telling me that. So when we're going into who we are and what we're doing, remembering that your body has to process through this. Now, I just was on a weekend where, oh my gosh, the magic of this weekend was so impressive with whatever rally I am. Like, I flew back to Wisconsin to help my girlfriend who is part of the nation. And I can say it in my head, but I cannot say it on my mouth. And we were gifted with at the same time of a powwow. That was our intention. That's what ended up happening. But the thing is, though, we knew that going to a powwow, if you ever listen to drums, and the grandmother drums, there was about 12 people, 12 groups with 8 sitting around them. So the magic number of 8, of course, that's been playing in my dance lately, as above, as below. And the infinity sign, if you put it sideways, that, that moment of the drums, and it really, some people don't like the sound of drums. I sing with the drums. My drums really, it breaks a part of me into what I'm called to do. And it was interesting because in between the different competitions of the different dances, that they would invite people onto the dance floor. And I did not go down for some reason. I just was not meant to. I think it would have moved me way too much for where I was at. That you can go around, and it was inner child. The drums were set for inner child intention. And as we're going forward, that's what's so interesting is when you're going through change, when you're going through those moments of change, that your inner child is like, hell freaking no, I ain't going, right? And so, because you think about how much change a child goes through, and it's tired of change. It doesn't want to go through change. But what does adulthood do? It goes through change, right? And when we're going through these moments of understandings and things like that, it is part of that energy. So as we were going, we were meant to be uncomfortable. This whole journey of this powwow. And this is one thing that I want people to understand, that when you're in change, it's going to be uncomfortable. So what ended up happening? We had to leave bright and early in the morning. We had to leave by 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the airport. So we got to the airport. Come to find out, our plane was an hour and a half late. That seems to be the theme of this morning, or this, that our planes are about an hour and a half late. I have to check in with that energy field. I think it's probably because we are in the midst of, trying to do too much, and then things get congested. So it was an hour and a half late. Well, in the sense of that, the plane that we were supposed to be on, they were trying to maneuver people for weight. Because it was a full plane, but it wasn't quite full. So they were trying to get people in the back and people in the front, trying to balance it a little bit more. Well, they ended up saying, screw this, let's change planes. So we had to change gates. And it was interesting. What was interesting? I observed the person who was the gate person. Oh my gosh, she had a great sense of humor. She was joy. And she just kind of moved with it. She says, guys, by the way, we're going to change planes. Now we're at gate such as it. Well, yeah, people grumbled. But did they scream and yell at the person? No, no. But what ended up happening is that they called up the certain people that were changing the seats, and they said, we're going to change you back. We don't have to change you now. Oh, okay. So isn't that the way change is? We think that things are going to have to stay the same, but they don't. They move forward, and they can actually come back to what we wanted, right? They can come back to what we chose. And so change doesn't always mean that it's complete, that it's 100% the way we think it's going to be. Okay, so there's the metaphor for that. We got on the plane. My girlfriend, who, she has a kind of a knee that negotiates. So we asked for a wheelchair, got through security, kind of jumping around the story, but got on the plane. And then we got there. Well, we were a little bit late. So we were able to get our a wonderful car, rented a car, but she usually flies into an airport that's only an hour away. But it was at this time almost $500 more to fly in only an hour away. So we chose to fly in 2.5 hours. car, right? Navigation. We didn't know where it was going. She tried to find us on the map because she's old school, right? She wanted to find us on the map. Well, she couldn't find us on the map. So we did my phone navigation. And you know what? Sometimes you got to trust beyond what the navigation says, right? Sometimes you just got to trust. And that's that whole theme of change is sometimes you just got to sit down and trust. So here's a mantra. I'm trusting, I'm trusting, I'm trusting. Many times when we say, I trust, I trust, I trust. And here's another one. I don't have all the information yet, and yet is capitalized. I don't have all the information yet, so I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust this journey. I'm going to trust where I'm at right now. I'm going to trust that I'm going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to trust that things aren't perfect right now. I'm going to trust that life is setting me up for something. I don't know how it's going to play out, but if I release, surrender, and accept that I'm not in control, that many times we can flow with the way the energy goes. So what we ended up doing in the car is that we really wanted to eat. We were really hungry. Couldn't, because when you're in the wheelchair, people get you where you need to go. They don't necessarily let you do things when you have to say, can I use the bathroom? Oh yeah, I know one that's quieter. Let's go over there. We couldn't stop off and get something to eat at the airport. So what did we do? We got on the car and we started driving. And I had the feeling that we just needed to get out of town because we were in St. Paul, Minnesota. So we needed to get out of the main part of town because we were at like 2:00. So right before rush hour. We ended up getting to this one grocery store and it was joyful. It was quiet. We ended up eating chicken and a salad, which was great. 2.5 hours later, we were at our hotel. It was later than what we needed to do, but yet we ended up getting, what we needed. We ended up doing what we were done. But the thing is, so you ever sleep in hotels lately? Oh my gosh. I am my husband and I are buying a bed. My husband's a number 1, which is hard. I'm a 5. I like my soft beds. I like being comfortable. I like being able to cozy into my bed, right? Oh no, this I swear this bed was a 0.5. It wasn't even a full one. So, but what did I do? I said to my body, okay, we're going to be uncomfortable, right? And this trip is a metaphor for change. So come along with the journey of the story with me, please. That, as we were going forward in this, that I really asked my body, let's integrate into this. We're going to be uncomfortable. I'm sorry we're going to be uncomfortable, but we are here and we don't have a choice. So let's be cozy with our bed. Let's just deal with it the best we can. Okay. I brought my own bed, my own pillow. I bring in a sheet so my body is comfortable. I'm a sensory person. I like the senses around me to be me. I like the smells to be me. I like things to be me. So that's what I do is I bring my own sheet and I bring my own pillow. Right? So I have my senses with me. So as I was doing that and integrating, my body actually did pretty good. I'm so grateful for you, body, because you did really well with the extremely hard bed. So what did we do? We ended up going the next day going to town. We ended up going and getting her new her card because her card needed to be renewed every 5 to 6 years for her tribe so that it could be part of the system, right? So we ended up doing that during the day. And then at night, the powwow started at 7:00. Oh my gosh, what a gift that was to be in the moment of that energy of the drums and seeing and doing and being with it. And then I ended up, we didn't bring chairs. We didn't know we needed to bring chairs, but we didn't bring chairs. And so there was benches. Well, I looked over and these blankets were glowing to me, and that's the thing is that when when you follow your gut, things just kind of set yourself up. So this is part of trust and surrender and accept, right? Is that, so I bought a blanket. I could have gotten a grayer one or a bluer one. Well, I got a blue one. So we sat on a blanket. It wasn't necessarily soft, but it was softer than metal, whatchamacallits, right? So we did that, and it was a magical moment where we got things. Oh my gosh, I gotta show you. I gotta show you. My girlfriend does sewing, and there's certain things that you can only get at powwows. This wolf came and sang to both of us. Isn't it powerful? I haven't quite figured out what he wants to do with me yet. I haven't figured out what he wants yet. But oh my gosh, I just got that he wants to be on the back of the chair here. He wants to be on the back of the chair. And if my cat comes back home, no, my cat hasn't come back yet. I'm trusting and surrendering to that too. I'm calling for him, been looking for him. I understand where he's at. So now he is over here. So very powerful. Yes, Veronica. Thank you. Yeah. So trusting he wants to come home with me. I love that, Paula. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, go to a powwow. Maybe the person because she's down in the Navajo Nation. So maybe you might find this moment where you might get what's calling to you. So we ended up getting my girlfriend got some material, and so we just gathered a little bit. So what ended up happening is that we ended up believing in the magic of where we were at. So then the next day we got up, we went around the town of Bodwin, and what a cute little town it was. And then we went to the powwow at 1, and it was a little more crowded. It was more, but there was something that I knew that I was going to be going through some change this last weekend. And when you are in a relationship with somebody who struggles, and you are in a relationship with yourself that struggles, and when you're in a relationship with just life struggling, and this is a year that, it's a universal 9 years. So if you add up 2025, it's a 9-year. I'm in a personal 9 years. So this is about endings. And and then it's also the year of the snake. And it's my husband and I's second Saturn return. So a lot of internal work is meant for us this year. Okay. So then the drums are set up for the inner child work, right? So as we're going forward, that I was sitting there in the drums, and tears were rolling down my eyes, and things were happening, and things were moving. But it was interesting because the people that were sitting behind us were talking, and they were just so magical. They were part of the other tribes, and and there was a thing is that this is one of those powwows that many tribes come from that area. Quebec, Canada, down other parts of Wisconsin, Minnesota, there's a lot that come from this to this powwow. And so it was just a gift to be able to be with where we were at and what we were doing. And as we were there, things were happening. But the thing is, though, we knew that night, so that Saturday night to Sunday morning, that we were going to have to leave at 1 o'clock in the morning because we needed to catch our plane at 6 o'clock. And so we ended up needing to leave, knowing that it was going to be a 2.5-hour drive. Wasn't sure how we were going to do this. We wanted extra time. We weren't sure about wheelchairs because we didn't know what time they started. They ended up starting at 3 o'clock, luckily. So we didn't know how much time that she was going to need for walking because she doesn't walk quickly. And so with that, so we ended up getting there in plenty of time. But that journey before that, this is one thing that I really observed, that since we weren't really sleeping well, I know for me, I was really traveling a lot in my sleep while I was there. I was really doing a lot of inner work. So I wasn't sleeping real well. And sometimes when you're going through change, one does not sleep very well. because the anxiety is up, the triggers are up, the subconscious is trying to process, things are trying to happen. My friend is intuitive, so to us sleeping in the same bed is a king size bed. So sleeping in the same bed, that we ended up sleeping and doing work together because our higher selves are doing the work, right? And so, being where we were, that we were able to sleep. But one thing that we ended up doing is that instead of forcing sleep to be at certain times, we noticed, hey, I just need to sleep a little bit more in the morning. I just need to close down after we got done from the powwow. We kind of, I didn't sleep necessarily, but I meditated. I quieted down. We got up and finished off our breakfast that we saved for dinner, and then we ended up talking for a little while, and then we ended up sleeping for about an hour, and then we woke up, and then we ended up sleeping on the plane coming home. And then after coming home, because we were home by 10 o'clock in the morning, that we ended up sleeping at home. And so it was like a moment of restfulness when our body asked for it. So there again is, when you can rest, when your body is asking for rest, when you're going through change, because the body needs to process. The body really needs to process the new normal that's coming forward. And eat well. Try to stay off the sugars. Try to stay off the processed foods. Try to stay off the things that, like for me, I eat peanut butter and chocolate chips, but I eat Adam's peanut butter, mix honey in with it, and I have organic chocolate chips. So, do those things that are a little bit more healthier, even if we want those other things, because the gut has to digest our life. So this is another mantra that I say. And I do this. So I go down, I start at my mouth. I'm digesting my life. 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 And I go back and forth because the way the gut goes back and forth. I'm digesting my life. 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 And you want to go up and around with the colon? You can do that too. Make sure you do it the right way. So I'm digesting my life. I'm digesting my life. I'm digesting life. And if you can do those kinds of mantras when you're going through change, many times the gut says, okay, because you have to go through, when you're going through change, it's all the chakras that are involved, right? And they're all getting more of a trigger than not, because they are going through the process of, this is not something that I am ready for. Many times we're not ready for it. Now, my front room, the wallpaper has been nasty compound, and since now it's been at least 15 years that it's been wanting to come down. Have I done that? No. My cat before, Maya, she started scratching on the wallpaper in a certain corner. She was saying it needs to come down. My body was not ready for it. My body was not healthy for it. I was trying to get my body, my liver numbers down. I was trying to get my hormones working. I was trying to, my husband now is 14 years sober. So, going into this, that, he needed to get a little bit more sober, because we were still working through things, and there was a lot of stress on my shoulders. There was a lot of stress on my body. Now the energies are much better. So now we can bring love and light into the front room. So going into this, that, things don't always happen on the timing that we want, but it's the timing that is better for us. So, going through this, that, I know, Veronica, that, you're going through a big change, and I'm so proud of you, woman. Paula, you did the same thing. You went through what you needed to do, and whoever else is out there, thank you for doing the changes that you are, because that is something that helps us do our internal growth. Without being triggered, we don't know where it needs to be healed. And we don't necessarily need to be on the healing journey. People can get stuck on the healing journey. No, we don't need it. When it pops up, work with it, then release it and shift it and move it into its new normal. Don't stay, oh, I need to heal this. This is part of my story. Yes, there are times where, like when I was in grief, the heavy grief, I'd spend a night with it, and then I would move it on. Because sometimes when you deal with those heavy emotions, that sometimes you have to spend some time with it. But the thing is, though, move it on. tell it that, we had this moment with you and I'm gonna move on because we are part of this. Now, I want to tap into this that there was a little bit of grief that tapped with me this weekend, because I was observing how I have been perceiving things, and how much wanted to honor the beings around me and the people around me, and with what my husband is asking of our future for our future, that it's like it's a moment, and I'm really noticing how tired he is right now, and how much he's had a lot of responsibility on him, and how can I set up for success for him. Now I'm working on the wallpaper in the front room. So, but like the other day, there's ivy in the corner over here that I needed to get at. And so I went out and I worked on that and got that moving. So, you know, when you are going through change, remember that sometimes you can have a list of things to do. Number one doesn't have to be happening at number one. Go down to number five, do number five. Do number 7, do number 2. When you're doing change, do what feels right at that time. Like today, I really want to get in my wallpaper. Migraine didn't help me. So what did I do? I got into the closet with the sheets. Yes, I used my body, but it wasn't like as stressful as right. It was more just taking things out, saying, yes, I want it. No, I don't. Yes, I want it. No, I don't. And so change is part of this process of moving forward. So change brings in the new normal for our inward growth, right? The inner growth of us is part of why we're here on this planet. So sometimes we have to get triggered by the outer world to help our inner world be shifted and changed. Kind of like when I was sitting in court negotiating that story, right? That was part of my inner change of observation of myself. Going back to this powwow, was part of that change that I needed to go through to see what I was going to be doing and who I was going to be. And, as we get triggered into this new normal, and that's probably why I had a migraine today, is because my body is just saying, hey, we've done a lot, girl. We've done a lot. And it's really time for you to stop. And so what did I do? I slept, a little bit later in the morning, and then I went and took a nap before the show here, because it's one of those moments where processing and taking it in. And so that as we do this, one of the mantras that I use, I'm attuning to the energies of the now, right? I'm attuning to the energies of the now because we have so much change going on right now, and part of the change is the planetary change, right? We are into a lot of these planets that are retrograde right now. Pluto, that's the death to rebirth process. Uranus is that part of stirring us up. We're going from Cancerian energy here today because it's the 23rd. Happy birthday, Fia. That we're going into from Cancerian energy to Leo energy. So we're going from water emotions to fire and prosperity of Leo, that movement, that grace, and so it's that understanding that I'm attuning to the energies of the now. And how many times I said that today, because I knew that part of this migraine was integrating in the new energies. And be what we are and do what we're doing and love ourselves through it. So another thing to do is that stop in the morning sometimes, my dears. The people who I'm so hoping that can be here with me to help, so I can help them, that look in the mirror and say, I really care about you. You're doing a good job. You're really doing a good job. Look into the mirror, not necessarily that you got lines here and what's happening here and there, but look into the mirror and say, you know what? You're doing a badass good job, right? You're doing a badass good job. It's like you're doing what you need to do to negotiate what you're going through. And it seems like things are hitting us left and right and left and left and right and left and right. And, it's like, my cat disappeared, my mother, the wedding, my cat disappeared, my mother-in-law left, things were happening left and right. And then I had a day where my dog disappeared. I don't know if you saw my videos on that. It's like she disappeared, but she ended up being in my car, but why did my dog disappear? I don't know, because probably my husband needed to learn what he needed to learn, and, maybe be a little bit more empathetic about my cat disappearing, or what, I don't know, and then, doing the front room, and then, things are happening left and right. We're getting a new bed, it's like, whew, that's just in my house. That doesn't include the planetary changes. Doesn't include the government changes. Oh, something's going to change there too. Um, it's not talking about how the changes are happening with the different countries, right? And then how it's changing, like with the gas and all. I mean, it's like there's the food. We're finding out things about our food, and it's like, did you notice what I just did? I was getting on the treadmill, wasn't I? But what did I do? I sat back and I breathed. I breathed in, because that's part of what we need to do when we're feeling that shift and change of things. Just like the wolf empowerment. What did the wolf do? It's looking. All right. It's staring into you. It's staring into, and that wolf energy. The wolf energy. What does the pack of the wolf do when they're moving around? Right? What does that wolf energy want to do with us? What does that wolf energy want to help us with? It's not about anger. You look at this wolf and it's about determination. It's about empowerment. It's about centeredness. You look at this wolf energy and you can just see that he's like, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. So when you're going through change, remembering this is a time to really figure out yourself. This is really a time to find yourself. Be with yourself, because wolf energy, maybe this is a time to really look up, what does wolf represent? What does wolf represent? Because wolf came into your life today, right? Wolf came into your life today. So Google, what does wolf represent? That empowerment. Sit with that empowerment. Work with his energy. He is here to support you. Just like that drum energy, listening to the different tribes sing. Oh my gosh, the singing. And then the song that they all drum the same tone. They all did the same rhythm with the drum, but they all had a different song with that. And sometimes they go bam, 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 bam. And so with that bam, bam, bam was to shake up. Part of what that story was is that it was supposed to shake us up. And so that's why we came to this planet, was to figure out who we are more and more and more and more. We're meant to be who we are more and more and more and more. And it's not to be hard. It's not supposed to be punishing. That's where you ask for grace and ease. It's okay. I don't have all the information yet, but I'm asking for grace and ease with this story, because I'm excited for the change to happen to my greater good. Do you see how I'm adding on these flows? I'm done being the victim of life. Yes, there is times where it's going to trigger the victim in me, but I'm done being the trigger of my life. I'm done being the story of my past, even though my past was part of my teaching moment to be who I am today. I am done being the victim of the pain and the ache that I thought that I had to do through this world's life, right? So this is a time for us to really decide, are we going to be a victim of our reality? Are we going to sit in scarcity of our reality? Are we going to sit in not a lack of understanding of our reality? No, even if we don't know, we're not in I don't knows. We don't have all the information yet. So when you're going into this and when you're a part of the story and when you are, as much as you can, honor the scarcity, honor the victim moment, honor who you are, honor what is being triggered, your inner child's, I don't want to do this, right? So this is what I do too, is that I have a part of me that understands that I sometimes not all of me wants to move forward at one time. Now I have an understand I have an inner child. I have a teenager, I have all these different parts of me that have been victims of some kind of story, right? They've all had to go through something. But sometimes they're like, I don't want to go. So what I do is I have this metaphorical wagon, and it can grow to as big as it needs to be, and it is light as a feather. And I put all these parts of me in the wagon that don't necessarily want to walk on the side and walk with me. And I put them in the wagon and I say, let's go. So I'm honoring them. Hey, witness how strong we are today. Witness what we're doing. So these parts of me that says, I don't want to go because I'm not too sure about it, I can say, well, you know what? Let's put you in the wagon. Then you can witness me. You can witness our life right now that we're actually asking for grace and ease. And it goes, okay, I'll get in the wagon. What kid part of us doesn't want to go into the wagon, right? So put ourselves in the wagon, put that part of us in the wagon and keep going. Honor what it is. Don't stay in it. That's part of we can get into the story of healing. Yes, heal, but sometimes we don't have to stay with it, right? The wolf is my guide and has been with me ever interaction. Uh, um, I have shared a life with him in Siberia, yes, in Siberia. Yes, exactly. I know I have a wolf as a guide too. Most of us do have wolves as guides. That's probably why he wanted to come with me because of his knowings and what he needed to awaken in my wolf, because my wolf can smell my way through the change, right? Wolf's knows its intentions. It can sense when things are off by its knowings and his guide. He is a guide that will always be with me. Amazing. I know, but no surprise that it is the tapestry you have. I love that. I love that. Yeah, because wolf is that's my wolf too. My wolf is a big gray. I mean, he's huge gray, dark gray wolf, and so that's who he is. And he wanted me to bring that home too. But so let your guides trust your guides at this time, even if you don't know them, even if you don't know you have guides. Sometimes you have to trust them, and that's the thing is you never know who you're going to talk to. Like for my friend Debbie and I, it was amazing how she was called to talk to certain people and I was meant to talk to certain people on this trip. And follow the guides that you have, because change is happening. And if we go into scarcity, so follow that gut feeling. If you get that feeling to buy an extra roll of bag of toilet paper, follow that guidance. If you're called to maybe gain a couple extra cans of something that you really like, grab a couple of them, right? So remembering that if you feel like you need to grab something or do something, do it. Like I'm getting called to lighten my house up. I'm free from moving right now, but I'm asking for movement, help with the movement. So what I'm doing is I'm actually like these sheets going from a it's a California king bed, but my husband's having a number 1 bed on his twin side, and I'm having a number 5 on my side. So we're doing the extra long twin in the middle of having a bed that fits for him and a bed that fits for me. And so with that, I'm getting rid of my king size sheets. And when we go into that's a moment. And I really noticed that I need to go shopping in my own house. I've known that for about a year and a half now. Go shopping in my own house. You never know what is around. And I noticed that I was really looking for like a plastic container But what did it do? I've noticed that it was plastic container was something that I had in there that I was saving. And then I looked at, why am I saving it? So that trigger from one thing to another to another to another is part of the change process. So find, you might find that your ADHD moments are squirreling everywhere. But remembering that, sometimes you got to let the squirrel moments move you from one thing to another to see how the change needs and is asking for you to go through. So I'm noticing the time. I am really, it's 444. Oh my gosh, that number has really been, I've had that number a couple times now, 444. Mm. And let me look it up here real quick. 444. Mm. 444 angel number meaning is in numerology, the 444 is often referred as the angel number, signifying guidance and support and encouragement from the spiritual realm. It suggests that you are on the right path and that you heard your hard work is being recognized and that you should have faith in your decisions. Seeing 444 can be a sign to trust your intuition and the universe's timing, as well as remembering to stay focused and positive, even during challenging times. Isn't that been isn't that the time when, that's what I've been talking about, right? So the guidance and support. 444 is often interpreted as the message that your guardian angels or spirit guides assuring you that you are present, that they are present and supporting you. It signifies that your current path is aligned with your soul's purpose and that you should continue with confidence. Hard work and process. The number 4 is associated with practicality, stability, and building a solid foundation. Seeing 444 can mean that your efforts are about to pay off and that you are making progress towards your goals. Positive outlook. Positive outlook is 444 encourages you to maintain a positive mindset and trust your abilities, especially when facing obstacles. Manifestation. Some believe that 444 is a powerful number for manifesting, indicating that your desires are aligning with your intentions. Spiritual awakening. It can also signify that a time of spiritual growth, transformation, and deeper connection with your intuition. End of a phase. 444 can indicate that it's an end of one phase of life and the beginning of another, suggesting a time of transformation for new beginnings. And that's one thing I want you to remember, that every ending is a new beginning. Every ending is a new beginning. I'm going to repeat this. Every ending is a new beginning. And like on my oracle cards that I use, there is a card that is the death or the birth to rebirth, right? The birth to rebirth process. Here it is. I knew I'd find it. It's the birth to rebirth process, right? And there's the hyphen. So sometimes we're the hyphen in the middle. We're not moving. So when you're not moving through change, it's a time to breathe. It's a time to rest. It's a time to integrate. It's a time to, it's kind of like, I always picture life as like the tide, the ocean tide. The tide goes out, pauses, the tide comes in, pauses, tide goes out, pauses, the tide comes in, pauses. So that hyphen is the transformational time when things are shifting up, right? And so you can read more about the 444 if you want to, but look at what the numbers are trying to show you. Look at what the numbers are trying to teach you about your life. And Veronica, you had 444 this morning too. Yes, I've been having it a lot. I've also had the number 8. Oh my gosh, the number 8 has just been. I was the number 8, and when I was sitting in the court, when I was in jury duty, I've had the number 8 so many times in the realities of me that, it's like it's amazing. It's amazing. So Okay, so I'm looking at the time. Now it's 4:46, and I want to channel. Who wants to come in? Mother Mary wants to come in. So Mother wants to come in, and remembering that when I channel, I am not a I'm not a full channel. I am here. I let the channel come in. I trust Mother. I trust a lot of beings, and you talk about a woman who knows about change, right? Um, that as she comes in, that remembering that she channels through me, and so as she channels through me, many times that they use some of the language that I use because they are channeling through me. So you may find that another person who channels Mother Mary, she'll use their mindset and their understandings and that type of thing. So as you go forward, remembering that Mother Mary has no attachment to any religion. She is not part of she is not part of any intention besides divine love on this planet. If you do not believe in channeling, remembering that it is just part of listening to the words. There's words in here that might be helpful for you. So if you can, remembering that those words are here for you to support you. Uh, and I channel when I'm here too. So it's like it's a negotiation, right? I don't look like I'm channeling, but I am right now because I'm channeling the language that they wanted me to use. So hi Mother, yeah. And then if I have time, I will be pulling oracle cards for people at the end. Okay, so let me pull in Mother. I do not know what she's going to say. Hello, dear ones. You are in the midst of doing a lot of things, aren't you? It seems like life and time is changing, isn't it? Yes, it is. Time is really changing. This planet has been set up for this shift that you are going through right now for many millions of years of this timeline on this planet. Now, remembering time is not necessarily what you think it is. Yes, it is kind of confusing, isn't it? Yes, the body goes through a time from birth to death. Yes, that is a timeline. Yet at the same time, though, doesn't it feel like when you were a child that that was a different life? Because it was. When you were a toddler, that was a different life. Yes, it was. Now, remembering that time in different lives, it's not a past life, like it's been said, but that was part of the evolution of it shifting up and changing into language because the mind needs to process what the change is going through. So, remembering that sometimes the mind is a little delayed in the process of the change. So sometimes you have to let the mind process it. Now, everybody processes his life differently, don't you? Some of you need to sleep. Some of you need to go for a walk. Some of you need to maybe move the body. So this dear one likes to dance when she's going through a lot of change. Sometimes you need to, oh, this, she has that vibration plate. Yes, that vibration plate that just shakes her up. And oh, she just loves that because it just shakes her up. So remembering that when you are going through change and the mind wants to say, I don't want to, right? I don't want to. That a lot of times it's because the mind likes to stay in the old patterns. So that's where I love this dear one's little mantras that she says, or affirmations as she says, is I trust, I trust, I trust, I accept, I accept, because that distracts the mindset of staying into I don't want to, you can't take me, I don't want to, you can't take me. And the mind likes to control. Oh, it likes to stay in its own stories. It likes to be in its process of who it is and what it is. And it doesn't want to change. It's a bully sometimes in through change. And so if you can, remembering that the brain and the mindset of what it needs to do is part of the overall health of the body. And so if you work with the mind, the body stays healthier. When you work with the body, the mind stays healthier. When you work with the mind, body, the emotions stay healthier. You see the connection with it all. So when you are feeding the body well, when you are feeding the mind well, in other words, with more positive language, with more positive music, with more positive moments. Now, remember that vibration is important right now because we are all going through a much vibration. So, if a song does not vibrate with you for that day, but it vibrates with you another day, sit with what vibrates with you for that moment. Your body vibration is shifting up into many different layers of its understandings. I'm not going to say dimensions. I'm going to say layers of what it knows. And so going into this, as it vibrates at a different understanding, its vibration is changing up. And that's where music has an intention for different times. So if you have a favorite song that doesn't sit with you for the day, remember, it is just a moment that it's not sitting with you. It may sit with you later in the day or tomorrow. So go with what you are into, with where you're at, and remembering that movement is important when you are going through change. This dear one goes barefoot a lot. A lot. And when she goes through that change, she likes to walk on rocks because it stimulates a lot of her body. Remembering that reflexology of the foot, that there are many places on the foot that integrate the body. And so when she is, let's say, doing yard work and she gets in the shower, she does rub the bottom of her foot a little bit so that she can trigger some of those energies of the organs and the story and the who she is and what she does, and that is helping her body integrate into the new normal of where it's at. That is why it's helping her shoulders a little bit more, because she is working with all parts of her body. And that is when it's important is that we forget that all parts of our body, the little toe are even in the part of the change, as well as the hair is part of the change. Your eyelashes is part of the change. Your skin is part of the change, right? And so you may find that one day your skin is looking a little saggy. Well, because your gut is a little saggy because it just went through something. So remembering that as you go through and process your life's story and journey and negotiations, remember it is a negotiation. And I love this dear one's negotiation word because it's almost like a ship going through a small passage, right? And if you think that the land comes down, right, and the water is in here, and the ship has to negotiate through that narrow passage, and it takes the team, the ship people, right, are at the front of the ship, in the back of the ship and on the side, and they have their radios saying a little to the left, a little to the right, a little bit slower, a little bit quicker, please. uh Remembering that we need to turn a little bit to the left and then right to the right. So but what does the captain do? It trusts, it's teamwork here. So as you go through the change, remember that you do have us. You have me, Mother. You have my son, Jesus, Ashwa. And you also have many guides that are supporting you through what you are going to do. And sometimes you don't have that guide at that time that you need them, but you can call them. Like this dear one was dancing one night and she ended up having a dark being decided to take her and close her off from her teammates that she could not hear. So what does she do? She trusted her friend that was with her and told her to get in the water, the moving water, and she called the shaman in of the land. And with the shaman coming in of the land, it was able to help move through that darkness that was attached to this. And that's the one thing that I want you to understand, that when you are going through change, darkness, negativity, story, lack of scarcity wants to piggyback into the light that is happening. And many people who do not understand what you are going through like to be the darkness that is represented because they want to sabotage you. So remembering that when you are going through a lot of change, choose who you are going to talk with because you do not want them to sabotage your lighter, more movement self. So not scarcity. Do not sit in scarcity, but choose who you talk to because you want love and light to come into your life so that you can move into that new normal that you're being. That is why this dear one likes to talk about things in a positive way. It's not that she's always positive, but she chooses to be the cup is fuller than not full. It doesn't mean that the cup is half full. It is what it is, but at the same time, it's perception and perspective that's going to help you fill the cup up sooner than the empty part of it, of lack of that scarcity moment, right? It doesn't mean that you don't deal with what is. Sometimes there's a little bit of darkness that needs to be negotiated with. But what do? You picture yourself on that ship going through the narrows. And in those narrows, then you can have the ability of what you're doing. So please remember that go forward in who you are, be with what you need to be what you are, which is divine love. You have the connection of light. When you feel darkness coming in, remember that the light from above, the light that is around you, the light that is within you, the light that you are wants to shine. Let it shine in you, my friends and my family. Be what you are. My sisters and brothers that you are, it is time for you to know you have a light inside of you. Shine that light, my dears. Be you in spite of the world around you. Know that you are safe in spite of the world around you. Yes, there are realities that are not good. Yes, there are people who, for some reason, they are choosing to go through this scarcity moment. Not of their choice sometimes, but there are other things that are playing out. It's an interesting moment on this earth that we are going through, and some of it is unexplainable right now, and I don't want to try. We are sorry that there are some people that are going through a lot. For some reason, they chose. As you go through this change and as you go through the changes of your life, remember that we are here with you and loving you through it. May love be with you. And remember, not everything in life is explainable, but there is a moment why it is happening. I love you. I, Mother Mary, am here for you. Remember, I like to be with you. So be with me too. I love to hug you. May you find blessings and may you find those little nuggets of blessings. So gratitude right now is very important. It is very important. Be in gratitude. It will help save you from that scarcity moment, my dears. Veronica, my dear, you are going to be blooming soon, aren't you? I'm so excited for this life that you're going to lead. And Paula and everybody else that is here, you have traveled through many things. So remember, the past is here to show you you can do it. And your now is showing you that your future self has done it. My love is with you. So be. Whew. Ooh. Well, I guess it is 5 o'clock, isn't it? Well, I do have time to do cards. Giving me a moment here. So let me get out my cards here, and I will be pulling cards. So who wants a card? It was Paula. Ask her about Rocky. Thank you, Mother, for being in my journey. Yes, I did channel Mother, and yeah, I got some answers, but it didn't. I don't know. There's something askewed here, and I can't do it right now in the show. So thank you. Hi Diane. Thank you. Yes, um I would love to do a card. So the first one that asked for a card was okay, so Paula. Paula is the first one, and then it'll be Veronica, and then it'll be Diane. Okay. So this is for Paula. Yeah. You weren't gonna get half the deck, girl. I need to push that back just a little bit. There we go. Okay, is it just that one card? No, it's this card too. Okay, and they're both upside down. So you got partnership. Partnership is upside down and disruption is upside down. So there's a reason why that there's two that are upside down. So your partnership is upside down right now. Maybe you're not finding your community right now, or there's a little bit of hiccup with your partnerships right now because everybody's going through change and they don't know it like you do because you've gone through so much. Because the disruption is upside down, so you're not going through a lot of disruption right now, but you're going through a little bit because the realities around you are going through it. So you may be helping other people through it. I need some clarity on that. So let me get one more card for clarity, please, of the disruption and the partnership upside down. Oh, so the card partnership is a 5 card, 32, and the disruption is a 39 card, so a 12, which is a 3. So 5 and 3 is the numbers for you. I'm not doing all of the deck. Thank you. Clarity on these cards, please. Because it's time to shed the skin of the old, asking for the new normal to come in for the wisdom. Snake is up in a tree, so try to get a different understanding of your perception, because sometimes when you get a higher view, you can get and it's not higher like they're higher and lower, or you are higher than them or better than them ego wise, but it's just get a different perspective of the situation that may be coming forward. And snake is another 5, so you have 2 5s, 23, because it's time to take the risk. Number 4, there's the 4 again, and there's 4 people watching right now. So 4, take the risk. It's time for you to move forward, my dear. It's really time for you to, despite the realities of the disruption and the partnerships you may or may not have. Okay, so Veronica, I hope that made sense, Paula. Okay, Veronica, this one's for you. This wants to come. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. And then this is the last one. Okay. So the masculine energy is coming out of your life. This is the card that was at the beginning of the deck. So masculine energy. So man, authority, male sexual energy, things pertaining to the law and justice. So you're having your situation, you have great backing in that scenario. So trust the better masculine energy and don't let the other, because the mysteries through the darkness You have the vision through the darkness, my dear. Owl wants to come and help you see through the darkness. Owl wants to give you wisdom through the understanding. Remember when owl comes up in some traditions that it's the death of something for the rebirth. So when owl shows up, sometimes it's the death of a process that you're going through. So it's deception and wisdom. So deception to wisdom. So you're done with that deception. You're going into wisdom. You may feel like you're the novice that is coming through right now because you're coming into a time where you got to really trust, my dear. But it's like innocence, beginning, ignorance, new skill without practice, instability, unstable curiosity. So trust the process, my dear. Trust the process because it's time to focus on what you know that you are, not necessarily what you're going to get. Yes, keep a focus on what you're going to get, but keep that focus that you are on a rider ship to get the wisdom that you're meant to have in the darkness that you've gone through. Okay, my dear? Thank you. Okay, so Diane, what I want you to do is just put focus out there, and the cards will obviously speak for you. So just put out intention. You don't have to ask a question through through the statement. Just thank you, Veronica. Okay, Diane. Okay, so put in the focus of what is the intention of the cards that you would like, and then we will do that. Okay, Diane, things are coming forward for you. Woo! Okay, so let's see where we're going here. Okay, and then there's this one here that wants to come. Okay, so let me go here. Okay, so the two cards that kind of popped out together was restriction and focus. So Diane, what I would think about is that how are you restriction of your old belief systems, your old stories that are not helping you with your focus. Now, I have ADHD. Most of us do have a form of ADHD. So my focus sometimes isn't always there. But what I do is I try to move with it. You know, it's like, it's almost like, just trying to, it's like the balloon that has to go with the wind, right? Sometimes you just got to go with the wind. You're not necessarily in it. So remembering that you don't have to do what society is always telling you to do with your mind and your emotions for you to focus. Work with what works for you, my dear, because as you work through these new normals that you're learning from, that you are going to have wealth, but yet part of this story, the restrictions to focus, is hindering your wealth coming into your life. So gratitude, moving with the energies will be helpful for you as you're working through the new normal, because you got to be careful of what the goblin wants to sabotage you with. So this goblin wants to say, be careful of what your mindset is. Be careful of those little whispers that you tell yourself. Now, I've been catching a lot of people saying, well, in 2 more days, since I went through my stress, I'm going to be tired. Who knows what we're going to do in 2 more days? 2 more days, I may, as a pattern, know that I have to rest my body, but do I have to be in trauma drama, right? No. So remembering what we say to ourselves can help. So remembering that as you go forward, what do you focus on? Can either be a restriction, a goblin, the novice, or it can bring in wealth for you. So be careful what you're saying. Be careful who you are. Be careful what the people around you are saying about you. And remembering that they are not you. So if they tell you that you are not smart about something, they don't know you. They don't know what goes off in here. They don't know your skills. They don't know your skill set, my dear. So trust the process, because Fire Fairy wants to tell you that there's creation and action and optimism in this dance for you, my dear. So trust the fire that's in you to move forward. Remember, we're going into Leo energy, which is a fire sign. So remember that what Leo lions, lionesses do, to be successful. Practice some of those skills, my dear, and trust your instincts because, it's time to trust. It's time for us all to trust. Trust beyond what we know. Trust beyond what we're seeing because the wisdom is here for us to be as we go through the birth to rebirth process. Can't line that up anymore, right? I'm Natasha Venter, intuitiveclarifications.com. If you know if somebody can really use this show, and if you did not get a card pulled for you, please remember that there was a story in there for you. So, if it wasn't your personal card, but maybe there's something that is saying true for you. So thank you for being here. Please please share. Please be with me every Wednesday at 4 o'clock. I'm hoping and praying that my little videos that I do along the way can support you in your life journey because I just want to bring light and love to this planet. We really need some light and love as we have angels around us. We have star beings that are wanting to help us. We have the fae that want to help us. We have the animals that are wanting to help us. We have the wisdom around us. So trust the animals that want to come because obviously Wolf really came. And it doesn't matter how that energy comes in. It's not like it has to be the heart beating animal. It can be like the tapestry, right? So believe in you, believe in what you're doing, believe in the path that's coming to you because magic is happening in the midst of the shadows being torn apart. I'm Natasha Venter, intuitiveclarifications.com. If you are looking for support, I do private sessions. Go to my website, intuitiveclarifications.com. Love and light for you to be. Remember, I do this without judgment, and I am just a perception trying to help your truth to lighten up so that you can have prosperity in your life. Blessings to you.